Our commencement speaker this morning is Mr. Ron Blumkin, chairman of the Nebraska Furniture Mart, America's largest home furnishing store. He's the grandson of the company's legendary founder, Russian immigrant Rose Blumkin, or Mrs. B as everybody knows her, who launched the store in the basement of her husband's, Isidore's, secondhand clothing store in downtown Omaha in 1937. For 80 years, the Mart and the Blumkin family have epitomized what is best about America's family businesses, including hard work and dedication, commitment to quality, value, customer satisfaction, and being a great place to work. Ron learned the business from his parents and has been part of the Mart since he left the Air Force in 1972. With his brother Irv and his father, the late Louis Blumkin, he joined Mrs. B in the Omaha Business Hall of Fame in 2014. Ron and his family are known not only for their business acumen, but their many contributions to make Omaha a great place to live, work, and raise a family. Please welcome Ron Blumkin.
Good morning, graduates, faculty, friends, and family members. I'm honored here to be at the commencement of the great Bellevue University. Bellevue University, what I think does best is recognize that education is not a one-size-fits-all. As Leah said, life happens, and sometimes it's just too easy to come up with a million excuses as to why you can't pursue a degree. As she said, I'm too busy, it's too hard, I don't have time, my family needs me at home. The team at Bellevue University understands these are real-life challenges. They've done everything they can to remove these obstacles by offering multiple educational options, making it possible for students to make their earning a degree become a reality. Your graduating class includes full-time and part-time students, working moms, current and former members of the military, single dads, and maybe even a few retirees. No matter what your motivation to earn a degree may be, you didn't let the excuses of why you couldn't do it hold you back. Instead, you took the much more difficult road and fought hard to discover why you could. On a very personal note, my successor at Nebraska Furniture, a fellow by the name of Tony Bolt, he graduated from Bellevue University 4 years ago at age 40, and today he's president of Nebraska Furniture Mart. Each of you has a story as to why and how you got here today. It may not have been easy, it may not have been a perfect story, but it's your story, and I think that's pretty cool. Today, I'd like to share with you what I call the big 9 lessons of life that I've learned from my mentors, all of whom are way, way smarter than me. It's taken me a lifetime to learn them, and I hope I can do them justice in the few minutes that I'm going to be up here. So here we go, and they're not necessarily in any priority order. My grandmother, Rose Blumkin, who founded the Furniture Mart, and many of you know as Mrs. B, she taught me from a very early age that luck plays a huge role in life. And again, just a bit of history about Mrs. B. She was born in Russia. She escaped to the United States in her late teens during the Russian Revolution, and she immigrated to the United States. Quite by accident, she ended up here in Omaha, Nebraska. That was lucky. And she made her life's dream of building a successful business in the United States come true. Now, Mrs. B was like nobody I had ever met and probably never will meet in my life again. She worked 7 days a week. She absolutely, once she founded her business in 1937, was dedicated to the work. As a matter of fact, she never took a day off, except for holidays and a few I'll tell you about here in a moment. She worked 7 days a week and literally dreaded taking days off. She was one of those rare individuals that literally lived to work. Whereas I believe everybody in the auditorium today, or nearly everybody on the auditorium, we work so that we can live. She was so grateful, though, to the United States that she refused to open our store on Memorial Day, July 4th, and Labor Day, the 3 U.S. holidays, which every one of our competitors stays open. And on those 3 U.S. holidays, she'd hold court with her 4 kids, their spouses, her 13 grandchildren. At a very young age, we'd get the same lecture. Now, this woman was 4'10". She was all business. And she'd point her little finger at us just like this, and we'd get this lecture. And it would go something like this. By the way, she had a pretty good ego. It would go, "I'm smart, and you're all lucky." Well, that doesn't do a whole lot for your self-esteem. But what she meant by that was she chose to come to the United States. And we were all lucky enough to be born here. And that's what she meant by luck plays a huge part in life. And then she'd make us sing "God Bless America." And if we didn't sing it loud enough, we got to do it a second time with more enthusiasm. And if that didn't work, on occasion, we actually had to sing it a third time till she was satisfied we got the point. She's right. Luck does play a huge part in life. But the key is to take advantage of your luck and be grateful for it. Lesson 2, integrity is the most important trait of those with whom you should associate. This came from my friend, my mentor, and my business partner, Warren Buffett. Warren told me when you look for someone to hire, you look for integrity, you look for intelligence, and you look for energy. But the most important trait is integrity, because if someone doesn't have integrity, the other 2 qualities, intelligence and energy, are going to kill you. I believe this same principle is also true in your private life when choosing with whom you choose to associate. If the people have an issue being honest, don't associate with them. Life's too short to spend time with people who have a broken moral compass. Lesson 3. This lesson came from my dad, Louis Blumkin. My dad would say, "Son, as a business manager, as a father, or as a husband, it's incumbent upon you to set an example. You will lack moral authority if you behave in ways other than what you preach." Or my dad would say, "Son, you better walk the talk." Lesson 4, be humble, kind, and respectful, and don't be a big shot. I learned this from my wife, Chris Blumkin, who's my, of course, wife and life partner. Chris tells me often, "Ron, you're no big deal." And she's right. Think about it. There's 7.6 billion people on this planet, and no matter what you think of yourself, the world does not revolve around you. Be humble and kind to others, especially those you perceive as having less power than yourself. A few years ago, I took a job candidate out for dinner after we had spent a full day interviewing. This guy had everything. He had experience, he had the skills, he had the intelligence, and he said all the right things. But there was something he didn't have. After I observed him, which I would have to say being somewhat disrespectful to the waitress at dinner, I decided I didn't want him on my organization or on my team, and he didn't get the job. I tell my HR department over and over and over again, don't hire jerks. And this was consistent with that mandate. Learning lesson number 5, do what you love with people you like. This is another learning lesson I got from Mr. Buffett. This lesson is consistent with the old 80-20 rule. A small percentage of people will be responsible for a large majority of frustration and headaches. And this is true in business, and it's also true in personal private life. On one hand, do not be afraid to walk away from toxic relationships. On the other, your friends, in business, your customers, your business partners, your teammates, And anybody who shares your vision and values, they deserve your loyalty. Doing what you love with people you like, trust, and admire will have a tremendous positive impact on your life. Lesson 6. This one came from my mom. If you don't take care of yourself, you can't take care of others. My mom, Franny Blumkin, preached this to us as kids, and to this very day at 91 years old, constantly reminds us of it, that our bodies are like a machine and you only have one, and you better treat it with respect. If you want to live a long, healthy life, you have to exercise and watch your diet. Now, this doesn't sound like, okay, Ron, that's pretty much common sense, but it amazes me how many people don't do it. For sure, it does take discipline, but it really is important. Lesson 7 on being happy. This one is from Charlie Munger, the vice chairman of Berkshire Hathaway, who I had the opportunity to spend 4 days with on a trip overseas. And Charlie told me that a happy person is one who has what he wants and wants what he has. And he told me, avoid envy, Ron. Someone else's gain is not your loss. Envy is the dumbest of the 7 deadly sins because it's a sin you can't have any fun with. At least lust, gluttony, and sloth, that's the makings of a good weekend. Envy will only make you miserable. Learning lesson number 8. I learned this again from my mom. And my mom always encouraged us to look for reasons, any reason, to have a celebration. When I was growing up, we didn't have birthdays. We had birth weeks, meaning 5 days of celebration. I got 2 of my buddies up here with me who have attended 5 days of those celebrations. This graduation for you, our graduates, is a great reason to celebrate. You will never have the opportunity to celebrate this graduation again, so make the most of it. And finally, learning lesson number 9 is the ultimate learning lesson. What matters most in life is how you're perceived by the people you care the most about. You can have all the perceived success in the world, but if those you think the most of, like potentially a spouse, your kids, your parents, the people you work most closely with at work, if they don't respect you, you fail. In summary, live a life filled with compassion, appreciation, effort, humility, integrity, and you'll be just fine. I'd like to thank all of you for your attention today, and let me congratulate you one final time on your graduation.
I really thank Leah and Ron for really great speeches. Thank you both.